What's happening, Earthlings? This is Dan here again with another video for shootandrec.com, and today I'm going to be talking about how to polish up your audio inside Audacity and make it sound flattering. So let's go ahead and do it. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to record a piece of audio using Audacity using a dynamic microphone, because dynamic microphones are known to sound a little bit more dull compared to condenser microphones. And I'm going to let you listen to that piece of audio before making any edits, and then I'm going to do a live editing in front of you using the stock tools available inside Audacity without adding any plugins from outside, without using any paid plugins, and we are going to make our audio shinier. So let's go ahead and do that. So I've already recorded a piece of audio using a dynamic microphone, and let's listen to that first, and then I will do this live editing. Give it a listen. Here it comes. For the salvation of his own soul and for the good and happiness of the many, the sannyasin is born in the world. To sacrifice his life for others, to alleviate the misery of millions, rendering the air with their cries, to wipe away the tears from the eyes of the widow, to console the heart of the bereaved mother, to provide the ignorant and depressed masses with the ways and means for the struggle for existence, and enable them to stand on their own feet, to preach, broadcast the teachings of the Shastras to one and all without distinction for their material and spiritual welfare, to rouse the sleeping lion of Brahman in the hearts of all beings by the diffusion of the light of knowledge. For this, the sannyasin is born in this world. Okay guys, so the recording is a little bit noisy, and I kept it that way intentionally. I kept a YouTube video running in the background so that the microphone could pick up the noises a little bit, and I can pretty much hear a lot of noise going on in there. So the first step would definitely be to remove all the unnecessary noise, and then probably, polish the audio a little bit so it sounds better. And eventually the whole target is going to be how to make this audio sound flattering. So we are first going to select this entire chunk of audio, and then we are going to turn this into waveform dB. The reason being, we want to see the noisy areas and measure up how loud the noisy areas are. Probably we would want to zoom in a little bit so we can see better. And now this suggests that the noise gate can be kept at maybe a little bit around the minus 40 dB mark, maybe minus 40 dB or minus 42 dB. That should be enough, because if you crank it up too high, it's going to chop off the ends of sentences and words, and that is not going to sound very good. So we are going to keep the threshold at minus 40 dB. So the next step would be to select the entire audio and then pull up the noise gate plugin from the effects menu, and we are going to set the threshold at minus 40 dB so that all the noise is removed but the ends of sentences remain intact. Now apply this effect, and after that we are going to do some EQ. So I am first going to roll off the lower end of the voiceover. So for that I would go to EQ, flatten the curve, and then in this presets area I'm going to go and pull up the low roll up for speech. That is going to remove all the low end that's there, and the boominess of the voice is going to disappear. This is going to give it more clarity. And the next step would be to increase a little bit of the higher end frequencies, the frequencies ranging between 2000 hertz to maybe 4000 hertz or something. A little bit of nudge here and there. And then once that has been done, we are going to go and normalize the entire chunk of audio to minus 3 dB, because that's what the European standard is. Once that is done, all you have to do is go to the file menu and export the audio. So let's now listen back to how the audio sounds after doing all the edits. It wasn't really very difficult, was it? So we are going to be listening back to the audio now, and the audio coming up right away. For the salvation of his own soul and for the good and happiness of the many, the sannyasin is born in the world. To sacrifice his life for others, to alleviate the misery of millions, rendering the air with their cries, to wipe away the tears from the eyes of the widow, to console the heart of the bereaved mother, to provide the ignorant and depressed masses with the ways and means for the struggle for existence, and enable them to stand on their own feet, to preach, broadcast the teachings of the Shastras to one and all without distinction for their material and spiritual welfare, to rouse the sleeping lion of Brahman in the hearts of all beings by the diffusion of the light of knowledge. For this, the sannyasin is born in this world. Okay, now I wouldn't say that this is probably the best example of how to make your audio more shiny, but then you have to remember that I actually introduced some noise into the audio intentionally because I kept my YouTube videos running so that the microphone did pick up some of that noise. And then I was using a dynamic microphone so that I could show you the effect of, all these effects inside Audacity and how they can change the audio drastically. And the quality of the audio that you're hearing right now, I mean, after doing all the edits, this is actually very good quality. Now, this can be made better if when you're starting out, you don't have any outside noises. If you're using maybe a better microphone, I'm not suggesting that, dynamic microphones are bad. The microphone I was using was pretty good. And that's the reason it did pick up some of those YouTube video noises. But still, the whole idea here is the better equipment you use, the better recording area you use, the better your recordings come out to be. So that's about how you can make your audio sound flattering using just plain Audacity stock plugins. Now, please remember, if you want to take this a step further, you can actually go for paid plugins, maybe something like the Isotope plugin. I actually use the Isotope plugins in my audio, but here we actually demonstrated what the stock plugins inside Audacity are capable of doing. If you use other paid plugins, they are maybe going to be a tad bit better, but you don't actually need them. For YouTube videos, you can use stock Audacity plugins, and this is how you make your audio sound better, and to some extent, you can actually call this flattering. That's all for now. And this is Dan signing off here. I'll see you again in my next video. Thank you.